Alright, we are live. So, hello everyone and welcome back to Factorio. So, let's click resume. So, last time we were working along on Vulcanus, getting all this stuff set up. So, we had the turbo belts producing, but not the underground belts or the splitters. And that is something which we should probably fix. So, let's see how we do that. So, underground belts are plates and regular belts, which we unfortunately haven't left that much room for. But we did leave this. So this makes 5 belts per second. That theoretically uses 5 belts per second, but in practice probably won't. Alright, what if we have this one? Yeah, okay, I think I figured it out. So we can put you in. You can make more of those. And then you can output to this way, which will then give us enough space that we can get these out somehow. Like that. Obviously we have to use those for now. That power line doesn't need to exist. And that inserter doesn't need to exist. Alright, so now we have this. We should be able to just take this belt out and around here. Like that. So, there we go. We have those over here, and now we just have to set up another one of you. And you will take plates, and you will take belts and make underground belts. And then what else? We need to make splitters as well, which is plates, electronic circuits, and belts. So let's make sure that this has somewhere to go. And we're going to need to get rid of these cliffs. There we are. Alright. So we have our underground belts. And we need to just get that whole chain set up. So you need gear wheels next. And you need to actually output. Hang on. We have to work this slightly differently. So you go like there and take your belts from that one. Then you can output to there, which then go into here to make red underground belts, which we power up. And then we need to go over here, add the lubricant in, and more gear wheels. So this just goes like that, and like that. Okay, so now those get powered, and we just have to bring the lubricant pipe over to here, which should be pretty easy. We just go like that, and then underground into it. Alright, so we have those, and then they are going to finally output to a foundry, which let's see, what does the foundry need? It needs tungsten plates, underground belts, and lubricant. So, we just need this to go up like that, so that it can go in. There we are. Then we need to get the tungsten plates over, which can just go like so. And then they loop down to there and go in and get powered up. Finally, the lubricant goes in and we get our output, in theory. The tungsten plate demand for these is insane. But we don't really need to be making 6 of these per second at any point. Like, we're perfectly fine getting small numbers of them. Alright, so let's get turbo underground belts and just give me a stack. So now those will be delivered every so often. And now we are short on gear wheels. So, let's see here. Gear wheels come from all the way back here. How do they get in here? They come from this guy. And you aren't getting enough molten iron. So let's just add in another one of you. And you just go like that and like that. And like that. Then this whole thing gets powered. And then we get our output pipe, like so. And let's just speed module these, since I don't think we're going to be short on calcite or magma. Just get as much molten iron output as we can. Okay, so these are saying their output full, which is the stone output. So let's get that outputting much faster. Like so. And then we might need to upgrade that whole line as well. Alright, so the stone output is still full. So, I think the easiest way to fix that would be to just move it to use both sides of the belt. So, you go in like that. And that should help clear us out. And then we might need these to be bulk inserters. Alright, so those are now bulk inserting, and the molten iron in the pipe is increasing. So it seems like that was the problem. Not necessarily the belt speed or anything. But it's fixed now. And this one on the right actually still needs more space, which is kind of tough. It's not easy to do anything about that, although it looks like we have enough molten iron because the pipe is getting more full over time, so I think we can probably just ignore it then. Alright, so that is going. And that should mean our gears are also going well. Let's speed module you and probably have a bulk inserter to get the gears out. So that should help quite a lot. This whole process is quite gear intensive. So there we go. They are more or less making their way over to the other side. And how many turbo underground belts do we have now? We have 18. And we're still mostly just waiting on gears, it looks like. I think that needs to be a speed, a bulk inserter. And even then, it might need like a second bulk inserter. I don't know. It takes a crazy amount of gears, apparently. And we can't productivity module it because it's an end product. So there it is. And now we're getting enough of those that the tungsten plates are now the problem. Although, how... The tungsten plates go on this belt. What is this belt? And why is that what we were taking from? I think that's just straight up the wrong belt. So let's make that go through. And we might actually just make you go down to there and then have a bulk inserter to speed up the process, because it needs quite a lot of them at full speed. And now those are all getting delivered, and I'm just gonna... I just craft a couple of repair packs and head up here to repair this one random machine, which I have no idea how it got damaged. But if we just run up here, then, alright, the machine has been fixed. And the alert is gone, so that's nice. Alright, so now we can run back to here. So we've got our underground belts. Then the last step is these splitters. So we need more transport belts, which we can split off there. And then we get an assembler, which takes the transport belts. And you are gonna make splitters. Okay, we finished physical projectile damage. That's nice. Let's do... Let's see here. These are all just like incremental upgrade things. I guess Destroyer is a technology that I don't actually have yet, and that could be useful. So this is plates and green circuits, which means we need this belt, and we need this belt. Alright, so those go forwards. And we get an input and an input. So now this whole thing gets powered up. Okay, then we output to another belt, which goes to another machine, which is fast splitters, which is gears and green circuits. So you go there, you go forward like that, and then we output here. Then we pop you in, and you need to be making express splitters, which need gears and red circuits and lubricant. Alright, red circuits are over this way. So we can just grab that and bring them over. Alright, so then that belt goes along there. We want the lubricant to be coming from down this side as well. So we have gears there, red circuits there, lubricant there, and then that just gets piped across and powered up. Then those get output onto a belt, which, oh, we need to put that in. So there we go. Now we have blue inserters being produced. We need a foundry to make green splitters. So those need blue circuits, which we do have in this general area. I think we brought them up specifically for this purpose. Alright, so this just comes along here. And then up. And then they just sort of go across that way and get input. Blue circuits, check. The splitters go in there. So that's done. Now we just need to get the tungsten plates, which we will split off of here. And then they go up this way, and then again go down into there. And then we just output to a box. And let's stick a roboport in the area, sort of over there, just for better coverage. Okay, so now the power grid is all messed up again. Unfortunate. And we still need more tungsten plates. We need so many tungsten plates. So that's what this whole line up here was for. Although we can, before I forget, let's add turbo splitters into the list of things that I want to have delivered. Okay, so if the power grid is all messed up, then the only way to fix that is by just jamming out some more of these blueprints, which we need to be careful because we are getting a bit close to the demolishers up there. So let's place you in. That would cross over the side just barely. If we go in here, we'd still technically be fine. Alright. And we might need to place these elsewhere if we don't want to go up into demolisher territory more. Like, it wouldn't be that hard to just like start another set of these guys down here. And this is probably out of the way enough to be fine. Alright, so let's get all of those guys in. And we're missing a whole bunch of supplies that we need to actually build them, but it'll be a work in progress at least. So at least we will be getting more solar panels. Alright. Should be back. Alright. think we're back again. So, yeah, we just lost power for a bit. There's a bit of a storm going on here. So, what did we lose out on? We were right in the process of bringing blue circuits over here. So let's just redo that real quick. Oh, no, not like that. So yeah, we're just gonna have to redo a little bit of work, but shouldn't be too bad. So we bring the blue circuits up here, like so. And then we bring the splitters in. And we bring in the tungsten, which just goes along like this. Alright. And we put in the output chest. And the drone port. Alright. So this is about where we were. Now we just need to put the solar power in. So let's get this corner built in as well, and then we can continue to go off this way. Okay, it seems like for whatever reason that might barely fit this time. Not sure what I did differently, but I'm not gonna risk it. So we just need to go like that. And oh wait, no, that's a bad idea. That's a bad idea. Alright, so we need to undo those, because that was going to build right into what is probably the danger zone. Then this one isn't in the danger zone. And yeah, it's difficult to say whether that goes in or not. I'm not going to risk it. Instead, we're just going to go down here as we did last time and set up a couple of solar plants down this area. And that should be all fine. That should get built, and hopefully we'll solve our power problems, although we really need to figure out a better way of dealing with power. And maybe going back to Novice and getting nuclear tech set up and then just importing uranium here would be something that we could do. And speaking of which, does this guy is in orbit around here. Do we have any extra drones that we could send down? No, but we do have 20 billion metallurgic science up here. We have 10,000 of it. Alright, is any of this stuff important anymore? No, we're basically self-sufficient here. Alright, so if power is going to be okay, and it looks like we're doing better, although we might not be enough still, even with our increased production. Yeah, these foundries take a huge amount of power to run, and it just keeps needing more. So either we need to dramatically increase the speed at which we produce and expand solar panels, or we need to find some alternative. So we did make it through the night again. So it looks like we're barely stable for now, but we're clearly not producing accumulators fast enough to keep up with how fast things are expanding. So, I guess we should go down and speed module the batteries and the accumulators just to get those going. So this has all the copper it needs, it has all the iron it needs, and it certainly has all the sulfuric acid. So if you just get speed moduled, you'll go extra fast at 0.47 per second. And that will almost get this one running at full speed. Almost, but not quite. And that will basically be all that we can do. So the solar panels are all in at least. And oh, they aren't. This bit down here isn't connected properly. So we connect you across. Just put up a couple power poles in. And then all this extra solar power will be attached up to the grid. And that should be enough to get us stable during daylight hours at least. Alright, yeah, so things look fine now. We're completely capping out the accumulators during the day, and theoretically we should be able to continue producing power to keep that full longer into the night, because we have just more solar panels during the slope down era. So hopefully that will solve the problem. Alright, so that's going, and the accumulators are still going to take ages to build. But in the meantime, we need to expand our production even more with a whole bunch of tungsten plate production. Otherwise, this is going to take actually ages. Because we're not even halfway through on the underground belts, much less gotten to the point of the splitters. So we need way more. We need way more. We need to get this stuff built in again. So we had this previously. So we can just jam it back in. Like that. And tungsten plates. Alright, so that's all set, and then the fluid input is up top for these. So we turn them around, and there we go. I don't think anything I've done will break these. I think that should just be all set. And then that's such a big power spike. It takes so much power to get this going. Alright, so now though we are actually getting at least enough that the bulk inserters we have are capped out, which means that we are getting stuff over to here. Okay, and then this belt of blue circuits is backwards for whatever reason. So we just have to get that set up correctly, and now we have all those things being produced as well. Okay, now these guys don't have access to any... This pipe has stopped for some reason. What is this pipe connected to? I know this pipe was connected to something, but weirdly it seems not to be. So I don't know how that happened, but we just need to pop that across, supply the molten iron over to there so that they can start producing again. Alright, so that's going. And now we have our tungsten plates. And the batteries are draining fast. But it is lasting, so that's fine. We're barely functional here. Barely functional at all, which is not ideal. Okay. And then I somehow forgot to put lubricant into this. Right, that was one of the things that I had to redo when I was setting this up. There we go. So you get lubricant. So now we can make some of these. And we make a bunch of these, which is almost done. And then this should be pretty quick. Alright. We have those in. We need to add a stack of splitters. And then we can remove all of the slower things because we do not need them anymore. They're just going to be taking up inventory space now. So that, and then blue belts as well. I seem to have removed them entirely, but we just want to set that to 0. Alright, so now that is all good. And this is still just waiting on the tungsten plates. These are... See, they might be draining too much tungsten ore. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell for sure. But it looks like it's getting through. Yeah, it should be fine. I should be okay. So that, all of these guys go over here, and this is filled up, so it's going to be able to stop soon. And what's it short on? It's short on the slower belts. So that's almost done. And we just need like a couple more cycles of that until it stops running. This one is still very much playing catch up to filling my inventory, but we almost are there. And yeah, okay, so now we have all that. So we can clear those two out of the hotbar, replace them with those two, and that is all good to go. Okay, so the next thing we need to add is inserters of the various types, because theoretically we are getting a little low on those. So we need plates, gear wheels, electronic circuits, and that's basically all, and I guess red circuits for the bulk inserters. So we have plates, gear wheels, barely, electronic circuits, and red circuits. So let's just bring these guys out over to here, where we can do that. So you get to make regular inserters. And let's see, we need to make this more space efficient. So we have the gear wheels and the electronic circuits on that belt. Then this belt needs to be the plates. So then they load in like that, and like that, and get powered up. then they output to the other side. So then we move on to long-handled inserters, which are plates, gear wheels, and inserters. Alright, so those expand out and get powered up. So then we don't need the long-handled inserters for any of these, right? Right, so we can just have them go directly to a box, which can store a couple stacks. Then we need another one here to do fast inserters, which is plates, green circuits, and inserters. So that is all set up. And do we need fast inserters for these? Yes, we do. So in that case, we need to set this up slightly differently. So this belt goes out to here, where it takes those, and then we have another belt go out from here, where it takes those, gets powered up. Then some of those go to a box, which just needs like 2 stacks, will be enough. And then the rest of them come over here to feed the bulk inserters, which needs gear wheels, green circuits, red circuits. So you go in there, then you need to go underground a little bit while that comes out to get the red circuits, which we need to make sure don't get in the way of anything else. Alright, so that is red circuit supplied, and then the bulk inserters supply to a box. Alright, so that should be all clear. And we're still low on gear wheels, so we might need to just get more of those guys crafting. Yeah, so the amount of gear wheels we have going out is actually quite high, but it's just that we need a ton of them. So maybe this current setup of like half of a blue belt isn't even quite enough. Alright, let's just get more of them cast, which we can put you in here. Do casting gear wheels. And then you are going to output to a belt here, which will output onto that. And then we just need to get the fluid in. And we have some iron up there, which can just go down and in. Alright, so that should be that. Let's just speed module you to make sure that you go fast enough. Our molten iron supply is plenty good. And let's upgrade this whole belt to green so that we can definitely have enough. Alright, then the next thing we're going to be low on is green circuits. So, where does our green circuit supply come from? It comes from this belt here, which, gosh, this is the problem, is that there are pipes absolutely everywhere, and it makes it impossible to walk. So the green circuits come from this belt, which comes from all the way down here, and right, this section. And then we have more green circuits coming up from down here. Alright, so these guys are... Well, first of all, you don't have a recipe set, so I don't know why that never got set up properly. We can just do that. And then the green circuits are short on iron plates, it looks like. They seem... Well, they probably are also short on copper wire. So let's get both of those sorted out. So we just pop one of you guys in there. And you are going to be casting some iron. And you're connected in with the molten iron pipe. And you're powered on. Then we just need you to output to a belt, which can go like this. And, okay, actually we want this to go into the iron belt. So first we need to make some space for it. So that goes like that. Then you can... So then that belt doesn't need to exist. I set that up backwards, so let's fix that. Then you just go across and into there. So now if we get you powered up, and that should supply all the iron plates we need for this. And yeah, that's more than enough. Alright, so the green circuits, they still need more copper wire, but just because we can, let's expand this out even more. Alright, so if we just do something like that, will this work? We're changing around some of the inserters up top, but that's probably fine. So if we just get those guys pasted in. Alright, we don't have blue belts in our inventory anymore, so that's going to have to happen. Alright, so you... Now we are short on copper wire as expected. Which we should be able to fix. We just need to get the wire onto this belt somehow, which we're already doing in one place. So if we just... Let's see here. If we just go something like that, and then that has to be flipped, then we can put copper into the belt there. And so then we just need to get the copper pipe to that general area. I will say, having pipes and not having to worry about, like, directions or anything is definitely, like directions or, like, flow rates or anything, it's definitely more convenient. It's definitely much more convenient. So you go in and you do copper casting. And then we just get some outputs like that. The whole thing gets powered up and attached to copper. So that hopefully will be enough. And we can upgrade the belt so that if that's the limiting factor, then it won't be anymore. And yeah, you seem like you need more. So let's speed module you. Alright, you finished unlocking destroyers. Still don't fully know what those are, but we have them now. Okay, let's just unlock another planet. We're going to need it at some point, so we might as well start unlocking it now. We are making good progress towards getting all this done. Alright, so this is basically a full green belt, but I might be able to get it even faster. Let's see here. So if we have this go out there instead, then you can go down this way, and then you can flip around like that and go in there, and that will help a little bit. We just need to get this fully output, and it looks like at least it's dramatically improved. How's the power grid looking? Power grid is looking fine. A lot of the belt crafting stuff that we had to set up earlier is no longer needed. So yeah, those little spikes there are pretty manageable as long as it stays like that. Alright, so these are still item ingredient shortages. Now it's back to iron plates being the issue, which means that you can get speed moduled, and hopefully that will be enough. Alright, down it goes. And we're still not making it all the way down to that. So we have plenty of molten iron. That is not the concern at all. So that's good, I guess. We are still slowly but surely getting accumulators built in. It's not exactly a fast process, and I don't know why they're flying over like 20 areas of accumulators to place that one randomly in, but it's fine, I guess. Alright, it looks like the iron plate supply might be doing better now. Okay, yeah, now we're output full. That is good. That's what we want to see. We have enough green circuits to the point where there are no more issues. And that's probably largely because this stuff up here has stopped producing more, which is fine. Okay, so what else do we need? I guess we could set up whatchamacallit, logic stuff here, but we probably don't need to. We can just import those, and then the other stuff is just various types of concrete, which I don't really need, and then some intermediate parts, which I don't really need. Alright, I sure am getting a whole lot of accumulators delivered to me instead of being used to build this, which is a bit of a waste. But it is what it is. Alright, so this is all set up. We have our foundry production. We've got 40 spare foundries. We have this going strong, making, so much molten iron, we don't need it all. So that's good. So then the next thing which we need to produce here, or well, technically we don't need to produce it here, but we probably should, is we need to either make the artillery or transport the tungsten plates over. So we have all of these things producing here, but we don't need it here. How much does a rocket? A rocket can store 5 of these. And as far as artillery shells, rocket can store 10, but they stack to like 1. Alright, so I'm going to say that we should set up a rocket to launch calcite and tungsten plates. And that will let us craft our artillery and the turrets for them back over wherever we need them, which seems more practical than doing it all here. And these can be crafted anywhere, so that's fine. The belts can only be crafted here, though. Okay. What is this? That's just rail stuff, which I'm not really worried about. Artillery wagon is fine. The cliff explosives take calcite, but can otherwise be crafted anywhere, and they stack to like 20. None of this stuff is super necessary. None of these guys require anything from here. So yeah, I think we're just going to launch. We're going to set up a rocket launching platform, which... Did we automate production of those here? Pretty sure we had something that makes those. Though I might be wrong. Let's see if I can spot it. If I were an automated rocket launcher constructor, where would I be? I don't see it anywhere. So what does it take to actually make more rocket silos? Concrete, steel plates, process units, engine units, and pipes. Yeah, okay, that's a lot of stuff. That's definitely a lot of stuff. And I guess the one rocket might be fine for now, at least. Alright, so let's get the tungsten and calcite hooked up to the logistics network. So we just have to find some random belt here. And you can just go to a passive provider chest, which I guess we'll store a fair amount of it, because you never know how much we'll end up needing. And then we're going to run over here past all of our tungsten plate setup and do the same thing. And we're going to store a fair amount of it. Alright, so that is that. And we're all set up. So this is going. It's doing fine. We just need to set up one of our platforms. We've got 2 of these. Now this one is mostly designed to wait in orbit and provide like ice and stuff, which it's doing very slowly at the moment. Okay, how about actually... Yeah, this one can be the thing that goes back to Novice. So you are going to get some logistics requests. So you are going to want how much tungsten? So one rocket is 250. So I think we just set you to want 500 tungsten, that's 2 rockets worth, and 500 calcite, that's 1 rocket worth. And so then those will go over. Alright, so we need to figure out how to do this. We can travel based on passengers and item counts and all sorts of stuff. So if we do this and we say if your cargo is greater than 499, I guess, and your what was the other thing? The calcite, where you calcite is greater than 499, and so if both of those things are true, then you can go. And then for novice, you say time passed, because we don't want you to spend long there, just long enough to deposit your cargo. So we do that, and that should be all set, in theory. We have the calcite, we're 1 rocket away from... And actually, while you're doing that, you might as well also take some science with you as well. How much does this go? Rocket capacity of 1,000. So you might as well take 1,000 science with you as well when you make the trip. Just, although we are not going to have that be one of the priorities for when you leave. And so then that should be just a solid permanent link between the 2 planets, which will be quite pleasant. And with that, we can also, like, send up... Yeah, actually, let's also have you send up some foundries. How much do these stack to? Rocket capacity of 5. Yikes, that's inefficient. Big mining drills, though, are much more reasonable. Alright, so I was planning on, like, bringing foundries to other places and using them there, but that seems impractical at this point, so let's just add big mining drills, and we're going to want those to be listed in our priorities as well. So where are you? Production, big mining drills, greater than 19. I should really just be doing equal to for this, but it's fine. Okay, so then you can have a higher maximum, because that's not really a concern. Alright, so now if we go back down to Vulcanus itself, you're probably just gonna be launching... Probably just gonna be launching science all the time, aren't you? Yeah, probably. It's hard to say. But are you... So we have plenty of blue circuits here. Those are producing fast enough to keep up. Rocket fuel is producing fast enough to keep up. And the low density structures are as well. So if we do make a second one of those, we should be able to power it So let's do that. Let's get an assembly machine where I just set one to manually craft. That's not what I meant to do. Where are you? Assembly machines. There you are. It's hard to find sometimes. So we pop that in, and it gets built. Then we're just going to feed you from a requester chest. You are going to be making rocket silos. So you need steel, blue circuits, engine units, pipes, concrete. Steel, blue circuits, electric engine units, pipes, and concrete. Alright. Do we have these things in the logistics network? We must not. So if we go up to our steel, and we can just... Where do we actually smelt that? Up here. Alright, so you can get a bulk inserter there, where you can store a decent chunk of it. Then the electric engine units are... Okay, so those just go down to here and instantly get sucked up by that crafting. So what, if anything, are you short on? You have your green circuits, you have your engine units, you should have plenty of lubricant. Yeah, you have plenty of lubricant. Alright, so you should be fine to just speed module. Gotta go fast. And how easy is it to make more of these? So the lubricant supply here is a bit awkward. The engine unit supply is now not going to be enough, so we're going to need to speed module you as well to keep up. Oh, this is where we had that production previously, but it's not actually hooked up to anything, so let's get rid of it. And now my inventory is full of junk, which I guess will be helpful for bringing the supplies down to build the other things. So we don't have any of those currently. Not enough storage space. Well, that's no good. Let's fix that. Just craft up a bunch of those guys. And here they are. So let's add all those guys in, and now we'll have enough. Planet Discovery, Gleba finished. Very nice. Let's do steel plate productivity or something. Here comes 20 billion steel plates from that. Alright, so that is fine. Then we need to get the electric engine units hooked up to this. So you just do something like that. And that will be that. How's power doing? Power is doing fine. Alright, so this isn't picking up anything, it seems. It seems like it's all just going straight past. I guess just the order in which it detects things. Need to do something like that. So that will give us the electrical engine units for our second rocket platform. Okay, and this one is now making the journey over, which is nice. So we should be able to just leave that semi-automated for now. Once we get more lift capacity, it should be a bit easier to maintain. So this is producing these, and it's just going to output them into a box with a single slot. And we still need concrete, so we have everything else hooked up. The stuff is still happening back on Novice. Now our concrete production, I believe we have it up here somewhere, past this stone. Alright, so yeah, here we are. And we need to set it up on this and filter you to only do concrete, because we have the steel elsewhere, which is fine. So let's just do that. And then these drones should come and put that to make the new rocket silo. Alright, so this is basically fine. And we're probably going to figure out more things that we're short of here that we aren't producing on site in the meantime. But it should be fine. Like, we have more or less total drone coverage, so we should be able to deal with that. I think you're probably going to want to be a bulk inserter just to get that going fast. So you still need more engine units, and we need any concrete. How much concrete does that take? Like, probably 1 billion? 1,000, yep. No surprise there. So that will be a work in progress. In the meantime, we go here. You are waiting there. So let's... Okay, we need to actually make sure to send down all of the things. So we go to Novice. We find our... Where is our cargo landing bay? Here it is. So you are going to set up requests for a whole lot of tungsten plates, a whole lot of calcite, and a couple of big mining drills. Alright, so those requests are all in. And okay, we need to actually figure out how to do this so that we aren't just sending just like infinite supplies down here and filling up our storage chests for no reason. Because that could be an issue. So we need to do like some circuit network stuff to set the requests. So let's see if we can do that. So yeah, we can set requests based on the signals from the circuit network. So that should be fine. Alright, let's see. What we need to do is we need a constant combinator. So you are in there, and you are going to supply what, just this, basically? So 2K white science, 1K orange science, 500, 520. So we need to set all those. And where even is the science options in this? I can never remember where those go. Are they... Okay, they're in the very bottom of intermediate science. So this is set to 2,000. This is going to be set to 1,000. And then we need our tungsten plates, which is set to 500. And our calcite, which is set to 500. And our big mining drills, which is set to 20. Alright, so we have that. And that is going to connect into this whole circuit network. Actually, not directly though, I think. So we need an arithmetic combinator. Just in there somewhere. And then you connect across. Okay. So, if we take that from the drone network, then this should work. So we want to do each minus each, output each. Does that work? Doesn't seem like it right now, but that's just because they're all exactly the same, maybe. Alright, so let's try then if we place a big mining drill somewhere. There's got to be some open space on a patch somewhere that we can just slap this down real quick. Yeah, like over here. Alright, so if we place you like that, and then you in there. Oh right, we also need to bring the belts over. That's fine. So this is just experimenting. So that should get a drone to come over and place it. Which should... Oh, I know. We have to do like this. Does this work? Yes, but it also outputs like a billion of everything. So we're getting the outputs we want, which is we need one more electric mining drill and nothing else. But we need like a floor to just chop off all the ones that are less than 0. And that we can do with a decider combinator. So we have you take from there, and you are going to go each greater than 0 output input count. And that should be that. Alright, so is that all set? We need to get rid of that. So we start here with our list of requests. Then we go to the arithmetic combinator. We figure out the amount of extra requests we have for everything. And then we output that. Then we chop off all the ones which are 0 or lower, and we send that. So then you, if there weren't a stupid tree in the way, someone get rid of that. There's another tree in the way. So then you can connect into this, and you are set to set requests, which we then clear that out. And alright, so that should do it. So now we'll only request things that we need. and then send them off to the drone network. And then up here, this got placed in properly, although we just need to make that a belt that we actually have on site for it to actually do anything, and I'm not too worried about that. Alright, so this guy should be all set. It's got some mining drills, and it should be getting rockets for the other things. Is this going? No, so we aren't getting any blue circuits, probably because we're crafting this. Alright, so we are just going to build you in, and then you get... Actually, we don't even need that. All these are belted in on site. Just need to clear out this space around here. Alright, so we have... That goes down to here. Then we have our blue circuits, which goes down to here. And those both get powered on. And then we have our low density structures, which come down and get sent in. Alright, so now, once we have blue circuits, which are slow to produce because they're mostly just filling in the spare room and logistics stuff, then this will be set. Alright, so then the other thing we want is we are going to want like a bunch of belts and stuff from here, since the belts we produce here, they can only be produced here, and they are a good chunk better than the other ones. Their rocket capacity is worse, though. So I think we're going to want to export these green belts from here as well, which is going to be a bit of a process. So this is wanting to make even more of these, which is probably no good. Probably don't want that, actually. Let's have those disconnected so that we can actually get blue circuits going to somewhere useful. So we do need to actually launch the rockets in order for it to do anything. Alright, so that is that. And now it's just going to take a little while before more rockets can launch. And this still needs all those other things. But let's add in green belts. And how about you have like 400 of those and like 100 each of these. And what else is there? Foundries are too expensive to send because they take like a billion rockets to get any. But maybe just having some will be fine. I mean, this is going to take a bunch of rockets to keep this thing loaded anyways, so I guess we're just going to have to deal with that. Alright, so then we have to think about just how exactly we want this going, because it might be that waiting to bring entirely filled cargoes isn't an efficient use of time if it's going to take ages to like craft some of these things. So we might want it to just simply go like every couple of minutes or something along those lines. Just give it enough time to load up with cargo. I don't know. We'll think about that later once we're actually dealing with it in practice. Because right now, the fact that it's just warming back up again for the blue circuit demand. Maybe if it has science, all other things are extra. Maybe, but like honestly, the science doesn't seem like it's quite as huge of a priority as just like getting crafting materials, because like if I'm low on science, then I'm gonna have to wait for 15 minutes instead of 5 minutes. But if I'm low on like belts or something, I actually just can't do anything. So it seems like if we were to do anything like that, it would be the other way around. But I don't know. We might just, if we can get enough rockets to launch relatively quickly, it might just be, you know, first come, first serve. Just like it spends 2 minutes in orbit, and then whatever it gets by then is just what happens. And then the requests will be dealt with on the other side of things, and we won't have to worry about it. That's sort of what I'm leaning towards now, but I am going to spend more time thinking about it, I think. Alright, so we have filled that up. So this is now taking the blue circuits. And I think I want more blue circuit production. So we have our green and red circuits here. And what I can do is wrap this around like here. So that is a belt with a whole bunch of green circuits on it. Then we need to actually take that out a little bit. So past there, you get a splitter, which is going to come around. So we get all the red circuit production onto this as well. And getting these on the right sides is apparently just going to be a nuisance. We want this to go like that, but then the red circuits aren't there. Okay, what I can do is do that, and then that, and then that, and now we have a belt with the 2 types of circuits. And my inventory is filled up. What am I filled up with? There's just a lot of random stuff that I have a lot of. Alright, so first of all, I don't know why I'm carrying around 50 ore. That was actually requisitioned. Alright, then I don't need iron sticks either. Let's get rid of those. I don't need copper cables. Or a singular barrel. Or a singular lubricant barrel. Alright. There's other stuff in there, like this turret box blueprint, which I should just pop into there. That's useful for fighting demolishers later. Okay, so now we have that belt. We can place in a couple more of these guys, and I just want to have a bunch of them. And actually probably beacon these, so you get a beacon, you get a beacon. Alright, so then I have to figure out how we're getting the sulfuric acid into this, which we can actually fit it in that area there. So that shouldn't be too bad, honestly. So let's get all this stuff powered up. And if we just have... Actually, no, that's not going to work. It'll be easier actually to have them facing this way, and then just like move that power pole around a little bit. Like that. Alright, so then this goes... Actually, it has to go a little bit further up like this. Although for most of these, actually, it doesn't matter, because I don't need to go underground for most of these. Wait, no, I need the output belts. Dang it. Where do the output belts go? The output belts can go down this way. That's fine. That doesn't break anything. Just use that little bit of extra space. Alright, so then this pipe goes in like that. Then all of these go across. And get powered. So then we get our outputs there, there, and there. One more power line. And now we have everything except the sulfuric acid connected up, so let's just bring this pipe down and in. Alright, so that is that. Now I think I do want these to be more efficient, which is going to slow down production a little bit, but the fact that they're speed moduled at all is going to make them dramatically more efficient than those guys up there in terms of speed. Alright, so now we just have to get this out somewhere useful. So you can go up there, and it's going to be kind of difficult to get in to that area, but I guess we can just have these feed the bottom one, and that'll indirectly help the top one. Alright, so that is that. We could, like, do something to get them up there, maybe. Yeah, that might actually be possible. Hang on, let's see here. If this just goes up here, through this area here, then we'd curve this way, and we go up there. Yeah, so that works. That is going to provide that whole thing with blue circuits, and then okay, but now they're just doing a weird loop. How do we make that not loop? How do we... Okay, what we need to do is just have that, and then that. Alright, there we go. So that is blue circuit demand, helped out a lot, and it might mess with the other circuits, but hopefully that'll be fine. How is power going? Somehow we're still going fine. We have another rocket launched, or at least crafted and ready to start launching. And do we productivity module these, or do we speed module them? Alright, so this is a limiting factor right now, because these are 0.33 each. And it itself is short on plastic a lot of the time. So we need to get speed and efficiency up here. So you get speed modules and productivity modules. So now you can theoretically produce enough if you have enough plastic, and you'll be a more efficient use of plastic. Then these two are gonna be short on that. So we need to get... You are already speed moduled, but you are just coal and petroleum gas. That's not that hard to duplicate. Let's get you in here, actually. Just like that. You make more plastic. And then this needs to go underground so that we have room to get the coal across. Then you go in like that. bit scuffed, but it's fine. Alright, then we get the power. And then we have our output, which goes up here. And you can then link into that. And then you can be speed moduled. So that should then be more than enough plastic to have this running around the clock. That takes 2. Actually, each of these should have been enough, but I guess a lot of it's going into the red circuits and such. Alright, so that is fine. That is now producing. These guys have enough of everything, and apparently we have 2 whole rockets set up. Oh, I see. You didn't have automatic requests turned on. So that was what was going on there. So we'll toggle that real quick. And then we have these guys going. They should now have enough supplies, and so that's 0.69. These are 0.33 each. The rocket fuel is obviously fine, unless it's draining slowly. This thing here produces 0.18 rocket fuel per second. And these guys each use 0.33. Alright, so yeah, we need more rocket fuel actually. And that should be relatively straightforward. I need to move that power pole a little bit to not be in the way. And if we just expand you out to 3 of them. Alright, so you get a belt of solid fuel, which we need to figure out. Okay, that needs to be connected still. We need to figure out how to get the solid fuel belt over to here. And also, the solid fuel production itself isn't quite enough. So that's actually... I guess we just have to do that. Actually, we have solid fuel in the logistics network, right? On this planet? No, we apparently don't. Okay, well, we can fix that then. So you are just gonna go like that, get powered on, and output spare solid fuel to a box somewhere. And then we can take that box to here and give you some solid fuel. Not steel plates, but solid fuel. And light oil. And then you get speed modules, and then this has to go underground a bit more, just sort of turning it into an absolute mess. But it's functional. And then you can go into there. And now, so long as we don't run out of light oil or solid fuel, either of which is reasonably likely, that should produce a lot faster. So now, solid fuel supply should be better off. It's not going to be perfect though, so I do think we probably productivity module them. And that's that. So now you guys are sending up more belts. So that's good. We haven't gotten to the tungsten plates or calcite just yet, because we have 20 billion other things to launch as well. So that's going. Our bots are actually, we have plenty. So that's good. Then these guys are both running properly. Although we might need to convert them to productivity modules. We might need to convert these to productivity modules and not speed modules. With productivity modules with a beacon probably would be what we need to do. Because this currently is just obviously not enough. Another thing which we can do to help out a little bit is to add more of a buffer onto here. So if we just take that stuff out and just have a buffer chest here. So now it'll continue producing rocket fuel even if there's extended periods where it doesn't need to do anything, and that should help it keep up while the space platform is away doing something else. Alright, so this is all doing its thing. You are fluid ingredient shortage occasionally. And that's because your only light oil is coming from here, which is also going somewhere else. Okay, this is all getting very complicated. Turns out, expanding from a very rough temporary setup to a larger, more scaled setup can be quite rough if you don't want to take the time to actually dismantle things and rebuild them from scratch, which is realistically what I should be doing. Like, it wouldn't be that bad to just redo the whole oil system, but I don't really feel like it at the moment. Alright, so you're going. You are going. We're about to hit another set of rockets if the fuel production can keep up, which is definitely seeming dicey now. So yeah, you're now item ingredient shortage for a significant amount of time. So let's swap you guys over to productivity modules and see if we can squeeze a beacon in somewhere. Alright, beacon. So I can get one of you beaconed. I don't know about both. But if we just pop the beacon in there and get you sped up. Okay, beacons are something that I don't have automated on this planet, which I should get. Steel plates, copper cables, 2 types of circuits. Okay, that's fine, I guess. We've got 2 types of circuits on a belt there. We've got steel plates there. No copper cables in sight. We should have 2 types of circuits and copper cables down here. Yeah, so we can do it down here, and there are also steel plates there. Alright, that works out fantastically. So let's just pop you in wherever. Set you to make beacons. Now this belt can come down, and we do not need thousands upon thousands of beacons per second. We just need a couple. So 1 machine will be more than enough. So there we go, and then there we go. And then you just output to a box, which we will limit down to just a couple of stacks. And then this, we will speed module this, just to get them producing a little bit quickly. Because in the short term it matters, in the long term it won't make much of a difference, because this will be sitting idle most of the time. But that's what the modules are for, might as well use them. Alright, so this is all going. These guys are now both short of rocket fuel. Although it's not so bad, at least. So the rocket fuel up here. Yeah, so now we are backlogging on solid fuel, which is good. So let's actually just get another one of you in. So how much rocket fuel do we need? Theoretically, we need 0.4 per second. And this guy produces 0.15. This guy could produce 0.15 if we just copy you, paste you over, well, not quite there actually, because that's where the light oil has to go. So this pipe goes into there and gets sent across. Then we need this belt to go underground some more and then wrap up and around like that so that you can output up this way. And I don't know why I used a bulk inserter there. And this whole row of belts is backwards for some reason. So that goes in like that. And that gets flipped around, and these belts get flipped around, and you get powered up. So, how much is this? This is 0.36 per second. So if we just put another beacon over here and speed module it so that this guy is a little bit faster, that should be enough rocket fuel per second to fuel the entire thing, assuming we're not short on anything, which hopefully we aren't. I did just hear a launch, so if it's bad, it's not that bad. So this is going fine. Rocket fuel should be going fine, and blue circuits should be all set as well. So that should be basically both of these running around the clock without issues. So that should be all set. How's this going, by the way? You are doing just fine. And we are very slowly chipping away at all that power storage, which realistically we probably don't need, considering how short the nights are, but the demand during the nights is also insane because of the foundries, so maybe it is needed. Okay, so red circuit supply is basically all going to blue circuit production right now, which should slow down soon because this is backing up quite substantially. Now if we go up here, this is all still warming up. So that is... we're still very far behind in terms of the rocket launches. Like, what are these guys even doing? What have they been launching all this time? Are they just getting caught up with the transport belts? I guess. We need one more launch for the underground belts. And we need 4 launches for the splitters. And we need like 1 billion launches for the foundries. So yeah, that's going to be a bit. Okay, so the big mining drills aren't really getting electric engines much, because they're all going into here. Oh, yeah, okay. I should have given that a limit. I forgot. Forgetting to put a limit on a box is a pretty costly mistake a lot of times. That's a lot of electric engine units, which we realistically do not know what to do with. Alright, in the meantime, because we do have some tungsten here now, so we should be able to set up some artillery. So if you go here, you get to be an artillery thing, and then you go there. So we need gear wheels, like a bunch of them. We need blue circuits, tungsten plates, refined concrete. Blue circuits, tungsten plates, and where's the refined concrete? There it is. Alright, so then that all gets powered up, and they output to a box somewhere, which will also need power. Alright, so this does need a lot of gear wheels. We might not have given it enough. We also might want to make you a bulk inserter to make this process faster. Alright, so that is going. And now you're producing. How much do these stack to? These stack to 10. So let's just store like 2 stacks, I guess. We are going to need a fair amount of them to just sort of place them around. Okay, and then the other thing that we need, obviously, let's go up here and get artillery shells. So you get a requester chest, and you get some power set up. Then you need explosives, calcite, tungsten, explosives, check. Calcite, check. Tungsten plates, check. And radars. Why radars? Who can say? We need to craft radars, apparently. So let's go over here. This is not the most space efficient way of doing this, but it's fine. So you get to craft radars. And you need iron plates, gear wheels, and green circuits, and I think that's it. Iron plates, gear wheels, green circuits. Okay, and you need power, obviously, which then takes you up to there. And the radars, we are only going to want a couple stacks of. Now this stuff, we're going to want a full box worth, and potentially more than that, considering how awful the stacking is for the artillery shells. But it is producing now, and that should be good to go. Now we might need to get another delivery of tungsten. Yeah, logistics storage there is dead now. So we're going to need to get this delivery of another 500 before we can do anything. And you are still waiting on just other unrelated junk. Okay, what are we doing? Just nothing of interest. So we need to set in these things onto our requests over here. So we go here, and it's this constant combinator gives us some requests for belts, and let's say like 200 of those. Actually, I think it was like 400 for one, but it's fine either way. 100 of those. We want 100 of those. And we want 20 foundries. Alright, so that should then set that whole list up. Okay, so if we go over to Vulcanus, these guys are all chillin'. The rocket fuel still looks a bit suspect. You are not all running successfully, so we need 1.5 plus 1.25. So that's like 3.8, 4.3 solid fuel. So this is like half the solid fuel we need at best. Alright, so we do have a decent chunk of light oil still, apparently. So let's expand this out to over here. So just so we have this room to build in. And if we just get another couple of you, and then you can set up there and output solid fuel to a box. Alright, so we get those two placed in, and alright, now light oil seems to have dropped dramatically, but at least this will be enough solid fuel production, and then we can start thinking about productivity modules on these. So that should be going there, and then yeah, these guys are definitely going to need productivity modules, and that is going to slow this stuff way down. Oh, this guy is within range of that beacon. I was like, why is he going faster? Alright, so then you also are going to want another beacon. Actually, I am on this planet, so I can do this stuff manually if I want. Although, it's not super helpful, actually, because we're just sort of waiting on stuff to get placed anyways. Alright, so you get powered up. You get the speed beacon, and that should be significantly more efficient. And then I think we want to make you productivity moduled as well. You're going to be slower. Actually, no, you have speed modules in there. You have a beacon right there. So that should be fine, hopefully. We need to now fix our light oil supply without breaking our heavy oil supply in the process, because, of course, everything is like this. Okay. Wait, these guys are actually output full. What output are you full of? You guys are full of light oil. Is this light oil down here not connected up to the top? Yeah, okay, that's incredibly valuable then. So we can take you over this way and bring you up there, and then figure out how exactly we're getting in. But this is like an infinite supply of light oil, probably, compared to what we're using up here. Alright, so this needs to not be in the way of this petroleum gas pipe. You can probably just go underneath that, like so. And then if you connect into there, then that is light oil up to here, except it doesn't seem like it's working, because this whole pipe now seems practically empty. And how is that? Did one of these just not get connected up properly? Oh yeah, you just didn't get connected up properly. Duh. That would be the cause of the issue. So this light oil pipe might have actually been connected up there all along, and I just didn't recognize it. No, it doesn't look like it. Yeah, so I have just connected that up for the first time. And now this is going strong. We've added an entire extra thing in. You're working, you're working, you're working. And all this stuff is doing its thing, whatever that is. Alright. Can I just add in a couple more of these guys without having everything instantly explode? That is the question. Alright, so if we copy-paste this here, what does it break? It doesn't seem to break anything. So that, the only thing that we're overwriting over there is a random pipe which doesn't do anything because I don't know why it was even placed there to begin with. So if we just go like that, and like that, then this all goes in, and we're going to need to overwrite that with faster belts so that it can actually craft it. Okay, so then we need to also get these belts up here, these pipes going across to bring in the heavy oil and the steam. And that shouldn't be much of an obstacle. So you just go like that and that. And then those guys are connected in. Alright, so this should be all good now. So that should be more production of everything, including light oil and heavy oil. The light oil still isn't doing great. The light oil is still not doing great. Power is doing fine at least, so there's that. I don't know where all this light oil is going. I mean, obviously we're using a lot in the solid fuel, rocket fuel production, but I didn't think we're using that much. Alright, so let's head back up here and do a count, actually. So, this guy here takes 16 light oil. So that's 48 light oil from there. Trivial amounts for the actual rocket fuel production. And the storage chests seem to be doing fine. Actually, this storage chest up here seems to be doing way more than fine. Yeah, we need to stop you from producing infinitely. So rocket fuel is now producing fast enough. Fast enough that we had to slow it down, the solid fuel production. And so that should then plummet the demand on light oil, because these are the more light oil intensive parts. So hopefully that should be salvaged. And we have another rocket up here, which is filling with foundries. That trip is going to take a while to fill up. We are also only 28 accumulators until those blueprints we made are all finished. There goes some foundries. And do we want to speed these guys up a little bit? No, the rocket fuel demand is still so intense that putting beacons in wouldn't do anything. we might want them for later when this has some time to catch up while it's not actively launching a rocket every 5 seconds. Although I don't know how much that'll actually be the case. Alright, so this is going very slowly. But it is going. We barely have enough rocket fuel to keep these guys going. It should be backlogging, right? We're using 0.4. We're producing 0.34, 0.4, yeah, actually is this exact? Yeah, I think this might actually just be exact, which I don't love. Can we find anywhere in here where we can fit a beacon? No. Seemingly not. So apparently we're producing literally exactly, just accidentally, exactly the right amount of rocket fuel to keep this going, which is a bit of a nuisance. But we have everything launched except for the tungsten and the calcite and the science, which is whatever. That's just going to be like 1 rocket's worth of that. Alright, so this is requesting the calcite. So that should go pretty smoothly. And steel plate productivity, almost there. Although, I guess it's pretty slow, so almost there is still like another 20 minutes. I wonder if there's something wrong with the science on Novice that's causing that to happen. Let's see here. It looks like purple science is the limiting factor. We got blue, we got green, we got red, we got more green. Yeah, so purple science is the limiting factor. It's just these guys here. And they are actually just struggling to deal with this. Alright, can we speed this up? So you are not going to be productivity modulable, so you might as well then be speed moduled. So that should provide a ridiculous amount of rails. Can these guys be productivity moduled? They can. Ooh, I removed the settings instead of adding the settings. Alright, let's... Actually, do we want all 3 of these productivity moduled? Because this is just going to be even slower. So instead, I think what we do is we leave the 2 outer ones productivity moduled, and we make the inner one a beacon with speed modules. So you get... Oh, not tier 3 speed modules. Actually, how do you craft those? With tungsten carbide? Okay, we might wind up working with those at some point. Okay, we broke power. Let's get some more power poles in then. Alright, so this is now filling up with extra rails. These guys are going faster than ever. But there's only 2 of them. Let's actually just get more beacons in here, because it's a relatively painless way of speeding it up. So these guys are currently at a total of 0.66 per second. And once all this stuff gets built in... Okay, I accidentally requested something get tier 3 speed modules. I don't know how that's happened. Oh, the rails. Right. So you need to get those cleared out and get those placed in. So now these are 0.8 per second, which is a notable improvement. but at the cost of now we somehow, for no apparent reason, have all sorts of random junk on this belt. Yeah, how do we deal with that? You're gonna have to just dismantle all of these belts and then rebuild them like this. And I think we might have to dismantle one more, because I do see a rail on that belt. Okay, the good news is we have the buffers, so this isn't actually long run decreasing our production speed. And, okay, let's dismantle that last one to get rid of that last rail, and then put another one back. Oh right, we need to make sure not to use those yet, because we don't have them here. Alright, so that should all be fine, and we're just waiting on one more launch of tungsten plates, and then this will be heading back to Novice. So that is pretty neat. Now, are these guys... So this is now just item ingredient shortage limited. That's fine then. And I think that's probably just belt speed related, if anything, or maybe inserter speed. And then these guys are seemingly doing fine for the rails, so it's not really a concern. I guess I can give you some bulk inserters there and there. And for the iron sticks, there's just nothing I can do. So this probably won't make much of a difference. Alright, so science is now going slightly faster than before. It'll spike up a lot because we're using those reserves from the box. Okay, and this is now returning. So this is bringing its stuff back to Novice. And in the meantime, we can get some rockets prepared in advance, and that'll also help us store up some rocket fuel. And then hopefully future trips will be quicker, because I do need to eventually get myself to Gleba. And actually, let's pull out the tips and tricks. Because somewhere in here... Okay, there's elevated rail. That's something I unlocked ages ago and I just never looked at. So that's just like... Yeah, okay, that's just a thing. Gleba briefing. Planet Gleba is a humid, swampy planet with rich, exotic vegetation that can be cultivated using agricultural towers and processed in the biochamber. You can't find ore... You can't find iron ore, copper ore, crude oil, coal, or uranium ore there. But plants provide alternative ways of producing needed items. Most of the items from agriculture come with the added challenge of spoiling over time. Even agricultural science pack has a limited lifespan and can't be stockpiled. Large five-legged creatures are native species of this planet. Solar panels are weaker but still usable. Okay. So solar panels being weaker is going to be a bit of a problem as far as power production is concerned. We might need to... I mean, there's no uranium there, although I don't know, maybe there's a uranium plant. Who knows? But if there's no uranium there, then in order to get that, we would need to import it, which probably wouldn't be too bad, honestly. Like setting up just all the nuclear processing stuff on Novice, and then just delivering reactors and fuel all the various places we need it, could definitely be a viable way to go. Because if I look at the space map, so like the rest of these are just going to be further from the sun, so it's fine to use solar for Novice and Vulcanus, but even there it's a bit annoying. So we might want to set up nuclear power, although I also kind of want to just go there and see what it's like. Oh, the other thing I should check in the space map is space route from Vulcanus to Gleba. Alright, there's a whole lot of asteroids there. This is very difficult to parse. Like, the medium asteroids mostly seem to show up in the middle of the trip. Okay, what about this route from Novice to Gleba? Alright, so these are also hovering around like the 25-ish mark, I think. So I think that's probably about the same either way. So I guess, let's see, we're gonna need to set up a whole bunch of supplies to make the trip, which will be easier from Novice. Although, theoretically, if the trip isn't much harder than the trip to Vulcanus, then it might be relatively painless to just have the transport platform go back and forth a couple of times. Like, that could be an option. Alright. So yeah, you are headed over. You're headed to Novice. Novice is doing just fine. How much artillery? We have 7 artillery turrets and 17 shells. And once we get more tungsten, then we'll be better off. So yeah, how much does this actually take? So a turret is 60. A shell is only 4. So as long as we stop like producing billions of turrets, producing a bunch of shells is not that hard, and you don't need a truly enormous amount of shells in order to get stuff done. They're pretty efficient. Because yeah, being able to clear off these guys would be incredibly useful, and just like in general, just get some space. Because these guys are really close to my borders, like everywhere. And I don't know if only 17 shells is actually going to be enough. Alright, so yeah, the rocket fuel definitely is going to stockpile a little bit, but probably not all that much. Alright, so here comes our supplies. This stuff is all getting dumped down. And the requests are diminishing. There we go. There's more tungsten. So that is going to go to those. So we are going to be making another 13 turrets and a whole bucket load of shells. So the turrets are going to drain most of the tungsten in the short term, but like once we have a good supply, we won't need a million more. So that should be fine. So you have done your thing and you're coming back. You did manage to deliver everything, right? You didn't deliver the calcite. That's... Or actually, maybe you did? Oh yeah, we probably already have enough calcite here. Yeah, that's probably what happened. And then the foundries. Did the foundries get delivered? No, you have 20 foundries on the platform. Alright, it seems like the 30 seconds isn't long enough. So let's give you... I don't know, it feels like this shouldn't be necessary, but let's just give you 60 seconds to make sure that you can deliver everything that needs to be delivered. Steel plate productivity is a minute away from being done. And let's see, actually, what here is in the tech tree? I feel like I saw some random extra stuff in this area. No, I didn't. Alright, everything here just looks the same as it was. I don't know why I thought, like, just unlocking the planet had somehow given me extra machines or something. Seems like that wasn't the case. Alright, so we have a decent but not incredible chunk of rocket fuel buildup, which does mean that it might make sense to get a beacon on at least one of these so that we can use that. Alright, beacon, where are you? There's the beacon. So you get a beacon. Beacon gets some speed modules and gets powered up. Alright, so now we're going to be using more of everything than we can produce, but we have some stockpiles of all this stuff. Let's make sure to get that in for these guys as well. Steel plate productivity upgrade, very nice. And let's get artillery shell damage, I guess. So we're going to need those at some point. Might as well have them. Okay, so that is that. The blue circuits should be fine. I think we just have enough overproduction of them to deal with all of this anyways. Okay, so that should be fine. I think at this point we might just need to move on to Vulcanus, or to Gleba, and see what happens. Although I do want to set up the turrets, because if we can get our artillery going here, that would be pretty neat. Where did we leave the crafting machines for those? They're over here. And we have just about a full box of these. We've used all of that, and we've apparently used all our explosives. So what's happened to our explosives production? Go down here, and you need sulfur, which is what this was supposed to bring in. The sulfur is... Okay, what? Explain this. Why is that? Huh? Why is it like this? So we have sulfur production. We have a box here, which is supposed to be providing sulfur, but seems to just simply not be. Were we also producing sulfur somewhere else? We had another sulfur thing up there, but that wasn't doing anything. Okay, I don't know how that's happened, but I'm pretty sure that's just supposed to be a passive provider chest. Pretty sure that's just supposed to be a passive provider chest, and that will fix everything. There we go. So now this is all running again. And we'll be making explosives. It's 0.25 sulfur per second. This produces like 1 billion. So we shouldn't have any problems on that front. Now we go back up here. And, alright, so Vulcanus support is back here. And presumably getting more launches. Yeah, that's happening pretty fast. And hopefully it won't take as long, because some of the stuff is not going to need to relaunch. Like, it has the science and the foundries, so it just needs the other stuff. It needs one more big mining drill, which is going to be an entire launch, and then it needs all of those things, but not all the transport belts, apparently. Alright, so that's going. This bottom one is going to be the main launcher, because it's like, you know, more than twice as fast as the top one because it has a beacon, until we run out of stockpiled fuel or whatever else we run out of. Okay, so that's all going. I think we should be... We have enough. 41 artillery shells isn't terrible. Could be a lot worse. So, let's see here. This is like the most well-protected corner of the entire base. So let's amplify that a little bit. Make those walls go a bit wider. And put a couple extra laser turrets down along here. Because when we set this artillery up, the biters are going to be mad. So, let's go artillery turret. Let's see, we want it to be a little bit back from the front, but not too much. So really, like right where the substation is would be ideal, but failing that, we can just put it there. And then it needs to just get loaded with some artillery shells. So just give it 10 at a time. So this whole thing is going to get built, and then they're going to take the artillery shells over, and then this area is going to be cleansed of biters. So that should be fine. And, okay, actually it's apparently not in the network. So we're going to need a drone port up there. And actually, we might want this to also have some repair packs. Just... Actually, no, because it's not a buffer chest, so that wouldn't work. Yeah, okay, so you can just do this. So that will get set up. Meanwhile, back on Vulcanus, we are launching more belts. This is almost there. So yeah, that's just making its way slowly but surely. Alright, so this is, everything is in except for the ammo. And that should be coming up. Probably what these drones are. No, those are random unrelated drones apparently. Shuffling repair packs around. This guy has a shot. Alright, so there we go. And... Alright, biter instigation has begun. Now, the downside is I'm not physically on the planet, so if something goes catastrophically wrong, it's gonna be hard to stop them. The good news is that apparently that drone just carried over plenty of shells to wipe out the closest couple of nests. Alright, so here come the biters straight through the annoying walls, and they get zapped. Very clean. Very, very clean. Alright, so that is done. Just a couple more nests in there, and then these places will be cleared out. Just one more shot. Alright, you go for a random worm, that's fine. Oh, somehow that got blown up. Not sure how. Okay, now we're going further afield. I wish there was a good way of seeing... like, the range of the artillery guns. Like, I wish you could get a nice circle that told you, like, you know, this place is covered, this place isn't, sort of thing. Okay, I just realized that this... You need a drone port. this area isn't covered properly. There's actually a small hole in this corner, which is incredibly concerning. Okay, biters. Where are these biter attacks coming from? This corner up here. Okay, that's fine. We'll deal with that later. So this guy is auto-targeting. He's got actually a lot of shells. That doesn't seem to be any problem. And I think he's done with his targeting. So that's fine. So now we're just going to have to deal with the more delayed retaliations. And then that'll be that. So back over on Vulcanus. We are still loading up. How many spare shells do we have? The answer is none. Yeah, that tracks. Alright, so we're going to have to get another delivery of tungsten before we can start plopping down artillery shells in other places. And that's just a regular old attack. And yeah, those wall things, I think they're called like dragon's teeth, but maybe that's something different. Those things work wonders. Just absolutely messing with the pathfinding. Alright, so this guy has plenty of ammo for covering this area. And we just need to get the fresh deliveries in to do the rest of it. But I actually think... Okay, just launched a rocket up to Vulcanus support. You are getting there. So I think we are going to turn you off. Wait, no, stop it. Let's turn you off, and we are going to launch ourselves up to the transport platform. And then we are going to head over to Gleba for just the last little bit of the stream. We're not going to have time to do all that much while we're there, but we'll at least have time to see what we need to bring with us for a resupply. Oh, we actually need to turn off personal logistics, place down some chests. Forgot that you cannot bring your personal inventory with you. So we're going to throw all this stuff into here. And all this stuff into here. And apparently we need one more. Where did I put the chests? They're in here. Alright, so then you guys go into there. Oh, and I need to also get rid of that. Alright, we are going to go up to the transport platform and hope that the trip to Gleba isn't significantly more dangerous than the trip to Vulcanus. Also, I don't even know what supplies we have immediately with us on the transport platform, so getting set up there might be a bit rough. We might need to send the transport platform back. Well, we're definitely going to need to send the transport platform back, like, immediately. Bring a whole bunch of stuff. But I just want to get there in the short term. What do we have on here? We have some belts, some power poles. We don't have any assemblers, which is kind of awful, but we have belts and pipes. We've got some crafting materials as well, and a whole bunch of metallurgic science, which is not going to be very useful, but that's fine. Alright, so let's take those off, and you are just going to go this way. And gosh, I sure hope that this is enough. How far of a trip is it? Same length as the one between here and Novice, which is perfectly reasonable. Alright, so we're just cruising through now. And shooting some asteroids. So cruising through, shooting some asteroids. Everything should be fine. We should be all fine for not getting exploded in space. It didn't look like this trip was significantly more dangerous than the one to Vulcanus. I guess we will find out. And if we find out that it is, then we're going to be in trouble because we don't really have much building materials with us. Actually, do we have solar panels? We do have solar panels. No accumulators, though. So I guess we're going to be dealing with a day-night cycle out there until we can get accumulators transported in. So yeah, basically as soon as we land, we're gonna deposit all the stuff which could conceivably be useful to us, and then we're gonna immediately send this back to Novice, where it'll load faster there for a resupply mission of whatever we need it to bring. And that should be okay. So far, asteroids are doing fine. And not been in any significant danger from these asteroids yet. Our gun turrets did get at least one ammunition upgrade since I think just the last time we flew this at all. So it should be pretty efficient. Looks like the ammo might be depleting slowly. Yeah, it looks like the ammo is slowly depleting, which is a bit worrying, but also we are already a third of the way there, and it's depleted by like a millimeter. If that isn't just an illusion caused by the... Oh, this one is even output full, so yeah, no, we should be fine. There's no way it gets so much worse than this, that we go from dealing with everything perfectly fine to suddenly using all of our ammo. Alright, so off we go. And it's so satisfying watching all these asteroids get destroyed. It would be cooler if we were using lasers, because I just think the laser guns look nicer. Like, you can clearly see the turret shooting, whereas with this, it's just sort of... it's less obvious, I guess, because the animation is slightly more subtle. Alright, so some of those were getting a bit close here now. And now the ammunition is definitely depleting a little bit, but it's still very, very manageable. And we're 2/3 of the way there. I think when I looked at the map, the amount of asteroids slowed down after the center point. Alright, almost there. Yeah, so the number of asteroids is definitely decreased now. And yeah, let's just check this again. Okay, so we're going to be dealing with more carbonic asteroids, but the other big types... Oh, that's even just chunks. The medium types are all decreasing. So yeah, we're totally fine. Totally fine. Ammunition got... I mean, technically this gun might be, like, almost running out, but even then, it's really not a concern. And the other design, which I think we might just copy-paste for future stuff, is even more secure than this. So yeah, here we are. We are officially stopped at Gleba, although speed is still slowing down to 0. Alright, we're here. We're officially here, and the ammunition is just going to be resupplying for a little while. We've got plenty of metal to do that with. So, Gleba is currently invisible because I haven't dropped. Alright, drop to a planet. Oop. Down we go. Down we go. And we are landing. We've got an achievement and a couple of tips. Alright. So here we are. And we've got all sorts of weird stuff here. New tip, agriculture. Oh boy, I do like farming. So agricultural tower allows planting seeds into seedable soil. Planted seeds grow into trees that can be harvested. Yumiko tree can grow on natural Yumiko soil. It produces Yumiko, which contains Yumiko seeds to replant the tree. Plantation can be extended by landfilling nearby Yumiko wetland. And this is a lot of words, okay. By artificial Yumiko soil. These areas are yellow on the map. Entity jelly stem can grow on tile natural jelly nut soil. Produces jelly nuts, which contains jelly nut seeds to replant the trees. Plantation can be expanded by doing stuff. Alright, yeah, okay. So basically, we're doing farming. An item with spoilable property has a limited lifespan. When the time expires, the item spoils into a different one, like item spoilage, which is probably not very useful. Item with higher quality stays fresher for longer. Okay. Well, that's going to be a thing, I guess. So we have stone in various places. We've got a whole bunch of trees. And alright. So what do these guys have? They have spoilage and wood, and apparently they explode, right? Okay, so spoilage is apparently burnable fuel, which is much worse than everything else. So I guess that's just junk, which we need to get rid of. Alright, let's check the tech tree, because that normally gives some guidance. Alright, agriculture. Agricultural tower. So we need to mine entity item stromatolite, which gives stone, iron ore, iron bacteria, and that unlocks the basics here. And then heating tower generates heat from chemical fuels with very high efficiency. Okay, so this is like the same mechanics as the nuclear plant, but presumably just local to here. So that's probably where we get our power source from. Alright, so step one, I guess, is to find an iron stromatolite, whatever the heck that is. There sure are a bunch of weird plants here. And there's a cliff, which I would need to import some cliff explosives to deal with. Alright, so over here, this is some sort of marshy type area. Okay, there's... Actually, I should get my stuff dropped down. I should get anything that I'm bringing with me dropped down first. Oh, we finished artillery shell damage. Cool. Let's get... I don't know, what else could we possibly want? Just do a random infinite research for now. Low density structure productivity isn't bad. So what we need to do is we need to drop down some belts, some underground belts, some pipes and power poles and solar panels, and I guess furnaces, and the plates are actually going to be super neat and useful here. So that we can have those, and I guess steel chests as well. I didn't bring cargo landing pad with me, that's fine. So we're going to drop all those off. We're going to pick them up. And, okay, I guess that successfully gets everything. Yeah, all that. Then we have all that. Any other magical landing craft? Doesn't look like it. Oh wait, no, there's one hidden behind this tree. There we go. Got you. Alright, it doesn't look like there's any more. So that is all the stuff we have with us. So now, I guess we go exploring for iron stromatolites, whatever those are. Because that is our first priority, is getting the research done. So we've got all sorts of weird stuff. Ah, there they are. Alright, so we go here. And yoink. Spoilage percentage in production. Alright, we got a new tip. Spoil progress of an ingredient affects spoil progress of the product. Oh, that's weird. Okay. So we're not going to want to have stockpiles, basically. We're just going to want to go directly, like, use everything as quickly as we can. Alright, so this unlocked the agricultural tower and nutrients from spoilage, which I don't know what that does, but whatever. Okay, in order to get the agricultural tower, we need landfills, steel plates, and electronic circuits. Okay, so what was the other thing here? So there was the next things are Yumikos, which do something probably, and copper bacteria, which you can get from Yumiko mash. So that's how we get copper. And spoil result is copper. Okay, I see now. So we have our whatchamacallits. We have our iron bacteria, which spoils into iron. So we actually just need to let that sit, I guess, in order to get iron. Alright, so in order to get an agricultural tower, let's work on that. We need steel plates, we need electronic circuits, we need spoilage, we need landfill. Landfill is just stone. That's easy. I did not bring electric mining drills, which is annoying, but we can work with that. I did bring electric furnaces, so I can make some steel plates from this iron plates that I brought. So let's get some solar panels down. Oh, and I need to... Right, I had talked about this being an important thing to do, but we need you to start heading back to Novice so that by the time we have anything, by the time we have it ready to go, we'll be able to be filling it up, and there'll be less delay. Because currently I don't know everything that we need to import, but I will soon. Alright, so power output does exist. We're going to shovel a stack of iron into there to get our steel. And then we need to craft up some electronic circuits. Don't know how many we needed. Oh, we only needed like 3. Alright, that's fine. And then we need to find some of those stone patches up here to turn into a little bit of landfill. And we only need like 1 landfill per agricultural tower, so that shouldn't be too bad at all. Alright, none of these guys are going to have stone in them, right? Right, we have to actually go up to an actual thing. Oh, I walked right past it. Of course, it's a tiny, tiny little patch here. Alright, so we just mine this up, and then we need like 50 of this. I don't suppose I could craft an... Okay, I can. I have the resources to craft an electric mining drill. Let's get that set up. That'll be much easier than than doing anything else. And then we just want to give you some solar panels so that you can function during daytime, which it currently is. Although, it seems like we need a couple more. And then we need you to just output directly to a chest for now. Alright, so that is going. And then, I don't know how long the day-night cycle is exactly. But hopefully it isn't too long that we have to stand here waiting because we don't have accumulators. Or hopefully, alternatively, we just like get some setup. I guess we can do. No, we don't really have a sustainable supply of fuel yet to do steam power. That is probably what we're going to wind up doing pretty soon, though, because these guys are 50% as effective as they should be, which is pretty awful. Okay, so we need one landfill to make the agricultural tower, so let's just do that. Then we run back down to here where our steel was smelting. Alright, so now we have our steel. And we can... Okay, what are we missing? We're missing spoilage. Alright, let's just chop down some trees then. Okay. It does, in fact, explode. Fortunately, I have a shield. Alright, so we can craft an agricultural tower. Huzzah. Is that actually like a research that we're going to get something for? No. Okay, so we're crafting an agricultural tower. Taking a while. Alright, so that is that. Now... What was the tip? How do you tell what the soil type is? It's based on the tile. So we have natural Yumiko soil, which is this sort of light greenish stuff. Alright, if I just pop you down in here... If I just pop you down there, what happens? You need power. Alright, well that's what these power poles are for. So you are now low power, so let's get more solar panels in. Alright, this is gonna really suck when night falls and I have no accumulators and everything is just gonna immediately stop. Alright, so this is doing something. I'm not entirely sure what, but it sure is doing something. It's got... Okay, it's giving wood and spoilage so far. So nutrients we probably do something with, but I don't know what. The iron bacteria that we got earlier seem to have turned into iron by now. Alright, so this guy is item ingredient shortage. Okay, so you've just picked up, I guess, everything there is to pick up here. Alright, I don't fully understand how this works at all, but I guess that's it for you in that area. And we need to find somewhere that's like Yumiko somehow, whatever that means. Alright, let's just pick up this entire setup here, because I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing. Alright, so that setup is picked up, and We were looking for something that might be natural Yumiko soil, whatever that means. Got boom puffs and all sorts of weird stuff. So maybe it'll be up north, because I haven't really gone up this way yet. Okay, this is definitely a different type of biome. It's got all sorts of weird stuff in it. Now, if I were to place you here, you just have sort of an orange thing, which I think probably means that you don't know what to do with any of this. But, no, it looks like you are doing something, but I think this still isn't right. I think we need to find, like, a specific thing. It says... these areas are yellow on the map. So we need to find a place that's yellow. Like... I don't know if that's intentional? Is that yellow, or is that just something weird? Alright, this is good for science. We're figuring things out. And okay, so this area is yellow, but I think it's not like the right kind of yellow. Maybe? Where is that tip? Because this is clearly different, right? I mean, this is not that. But there... yeah, so this... I don't see any conspicuously yellow areas other than, like, this whole biome. But I don't think it's going to be as simple as just anywhere in this entire biome. There's got to be more to it than that. Maybe it's like this yellow patch or something? Okay. We have multiple different colors here when we try to place this. Like, over here, it's all yellow. Over here, there's like this... Alright, this stuff in here is definitely different. I don't know how it's different, but it's different. So I'm going to place you down and see what happens. Alright, so that gets powered up. Gosh, I sure hope... oh, right, we don't have... cannot build on pink marsh. Okay, so that's just the fluid there. Got it. Alright, so that is all powered up. I'm surprised that it's apparently I've just never attempted to build during nighttime. Maybe... okay, no. Power is definitely decreasing. Alright, so night is falling. And... alright, some weird stuff is going on now, that's for sure. What? Alright. Jelly stem. Wait, that was a thing, right? If we go into this... agriculture... jelly nut. Alright, so this is something. And that is also a little guy. And by little guy, I mean enormous. So that's worrying. So what is this? A gleba abomination with a jelly-like stem and soft, fleshy lumps that grow with wrinkled jelly nuts. Okay, so I guess we're going to have to investigate what's going on up there. And how long is the night? It's hard to say, because I haven't had continual power. Also, I randomly accidentally tried to place it. That doesn't need to be there. Alright. Are you headed this way, or are you just chilling down there? If you're just going to stand down there, then that's fine. Okay, the night is not that long here. What was that sound? Oh, I see. This thing uses power in bursts, I guess. Weird. Okay. So anyway, it's done whatever that is. And we have... Oh wait, I see this. This is a conspicuous purple. That's probably the natural jelly nut soil or whatever. And then this... Surely this is something. There's gotta be something that I'm missing here. And I don't know what it is. Maybe... Oh, so you have to like put seeds in here somehow, but I don't have any of the seeds that I need. So it's like this light greenish area. Tile natural Yumiko soil, looks like that. Which I guess could be this yellow stuff. I wish there was a way of telling what type of tile it was. But I don't. Alright. That monster down there definitely has me a little bit concerned, so I might want to just move away from that area. And so the jelly nut purple stuff was in this giant pink marsh thing. So maybe this blue marsh will have a different type of enemy or something, or like the different type of farming stuff. Okay, so this gives me a lot of stone. That's fine. Let's just pick all that up so that I have it if I need it later. So there's all sorts of weird plants. Okay, I see a red speck on the mini-map up ahead. It is a small egg raft. Assuming that that's what the enemy is and there's not some other sneaky thing in here somewhere. Okay, I don't see anything else. So if we go down here, is this all traversable? It is. So this is more of this sort of purpley area. There's a whole lot of that. Alright, I don't really understand what's going on here. I do not fully understand what's going on here, but there's gotta be some... I forget what I'm even looking for. What am I even looking for? What's the name of it? It is... Scroll down a little bit. We're looking for Yumiko trees. Yeah, no, I can definitely tell that this is going to be a very different type of thing. So we're just going to continue wandering around. Okay, this area is very bright green. Maybe this? Okay, I see something funky up here. Yes, alright. Yumiko tree. A gleba tree that yields tasty, nutritious fruit. Alright, we found it. So, if we go up here and we place our agricultural tower... Yeah, okay, so now this stuff is green and the wetland is yellow. Okay, I think I've gotten that figured out then. So let's get this power pole over to here somewhere, and apparently building on the wetland is annoying. So let's craft up some landfill so I can put the power line in it. So there we go. Then we can connect this across. Got long power poles. I have them somewhere. I don't have them on me right now. I don't have much on me right now, as a matter of fact. We are sort of doing a scouting expedition to figure out what we even need to bring. Alright, so that is all powered up and might be fine. Okay. Can I craft an inserter? And that. Can then grab some of this stuff off onto a belt. Okay, and then we're going to need another... Let's craft up a couple inserters, because I'm probably going to need a couple of them. So then these guys can go out onto a box. So now we have these. Yumiko, nutritious farmable crop, grants burst of health regeneration when eaten. Is that all there is to it? What is... It's got to do something. It's got to do something. Alright, so we have these. So it affects Yumiko processing. 1 Yumiko produces 2% Yumiko seeds and 2 Yumiko mash. And then you can turn the mash into copper bacteria. Okay. I'm sort of understanding now. You can get copper out of this, basically. And that recipe is in just an assembler or something. So this has a whole bunch of that in it. And we need to craft up an assembling machine, just an assembly machine 1. That should be good for now. And then we insert her into you. Okay, it might not be in an assembly machine. What is it in? Does it say what this can be done in? So these... Is this manual craft only, or... How does that work? Because I can definitely manual craft these. And we get Yumiko mash. And then I can craft copper bacteria, which then turn into copper. Factoripedia. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Probably say. Alright, so this recipe. Oh, I see. It has to be made in biochamber, assembling machine 2, assembling machine 3. So I got sabotaged by wanting to use it in a cheap assembly machine 1 for some reason. For some reason that just isn't allowed. So let's craft up an assembly machine 2. It's a little bit weird, but there we go. So yeah, you can do that. And then we need to take the... I can't build on the wetland, of course. Of course not. So then we need to build over there somewhere. And now we have this. And I assume that the electricity is all terrible right now, so let's get more of these guys in. Just a couple extra solar panels, and hopefully we can figure out how to get better power soon. Also, hopefully it doesn't become nighttime soon, because then all of this will stop. Alright, well that's better at least. Okay, so can I get rid of you so I can reach this? So the Yumiko mash also spoils. And then we need to convert that. We need to get seeds at some point. At some point we need to get seeds, which we put back in the agricultural tower, which doesn't seem to be happening. It's like a 2% chance, so I guess it's not that likely. And also it's nighttime now, so power is down. Alright, so what else do we do with this? We can turn that into copper bacteria to get a supply of copper. And then I assume the... It's annoying that it keeps bringing me to that. Then Jelly Nut will do basically the same thing, but for iron. And then we get iron and copper. Alright, that makes sense. So, we're going to... I think we're going to wrap up the stream here. And next stream, we are going to figure out a big, long list of things which we need to import. So the transport platform is back above Novice. So yeah, next time we're going to send the transport platform back here, import a whole bunch of supplies, and then see what we can do from here. So thanks everyone for hanging out. Had a lot of fun. The new planet seems like it's going to be pretty interesting and different. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks for hanging out. If you haven't already, make sure to follow. Super helpful. And if you have already, then thank you for following. And I will be streaming again on Monday. So I stream every weekday from 2 to 5 Eastern Time. So if you're interested in any of that, make sure to stop by in the future. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you guys next time.